seated. This is a civil action between the plaintiff, Eric Dunn, and the defendants, Mark Bunyan and his friend. Mr. Dunn is seeking compensation for damages to his reputation and emotional trauma caused by the actions of the defendants over a number of years. Mr. Dunn, can you please give us some background to this unfortunate case?
Thank you very much, my lady. I've known Mr. Bunyan for almost 30 years and indeed considered him to be a friend. I don't actually know his other friend except through, like everybody else, postings on social media. Some 7 years ago, in an act of kindness, I offered him a small part in a film that I was putting together to promote my brown chip business, Shit Advisor. He received good reviews for his performance, which unfortunately went to his massive head. By the time the sequel was being made, he was starting to behave like his character, the ruthless businessman Duncan Toilet Time.
Mr. Bunyan, please.
Well, first of all, thank you, Judge Ringpiece, for inviting me here to this somewhat baffling situation. Not entirely sure how we got to this strange kangaroo court, but here we are. First of all, I would like it known this situation has nothing to do with my aforementioned friend, so from here on in there'll be no more mention of this aforementioned friend.
Objection.
Overruled. Mr. Bunyan, please continue.
So down to business. Yes, I have known Eric for longer than I care to remember. We used to get on very well indeed, which led to him approaching me for a part in a Shit Advisor film. It was okay, a bit of fun, and that was it. The part certainly didn't go to my head. And for Dunny to say that is pure fantasy, but then again it's not unusual for Dunny. His expectations of himself often outweigh his ability. On the subject of Shit Advisor films, I did not receive any money or payment. Can Dunny say the same? Is his mattress a little lumpy perhaps?
Mr. Dunn, your response please.
That is a complete falsehood, Grudge. Shit Advisor is a non-profit making public service. When Scott Clark approached me to collaborate with him in making the film The Legend of the Armadale Panther, we both thought there was only one person could play Bushcraft Bunyan in his natural habitat, and that was that man sitting to my right today. That film became a cult classic and the springboard to utter nonsense films. Mr. Bunyan was not involved in the early movies and may have become jealous in our success, especially when national media picked up on the Tom Hardy incident.
Okay, Mr. Bunyan, please.
Yes, I was cast very well indeed as me, and being a local celebrity of film and television, I was happy to help out, inject a bit of charisma into the movie.
Objection.
Overruled.
Let's face it, there were a fair few bumbling idiots in it that couldn't even keep their trousers on. Once again, Dunny's actions were a tad dangerous. Dunny, do you remember your actions regarding your handling of a toadstool?
Objection, it was Scott Clark that twatted that twat.
Mr. Dunn, I will have no more outbursts like that in my court.
Suppose so.
Mr. Bunyan, please continue.
Thank you. Yes, I thought so. You caused serious injury with your handling of it. Now, Tom Hardy, I really wanted nothing to do with that poorly produced debacle. A Pringles can are one of Dunny's many shite shirts. And a pug pops up in it too. Well, we know what they were bred for. Did you ever pay a tick bill down at the Like Hotel after filming down there, Mr. Dunn?
Objection, I've never spent a penny in that establishment since the Pickens had the public bar closed.
Sustained. Mr. Dunn, please.
Well, next we needed Mr. Bunyan for a part, virtually playing himself again in Planet of the Apes. He was very convincing playing a large primate, but ever since he's plagiarised a line from that film, "That's unbelievable, Eric," a line that you can't even get right.
Mr. Bunyan, please. Response.
Okay, well, Planet of the Apes has been cast as a large primate, good casting, but did we really need the ape suit? As for plagiarising a line from the film, that's what made the film. Many a good catchphrase is what draws the attention of the public, and once again, I promoted a short film with a simple catchphrase. Everybody loves a catchphrase. For example, anybody know what the fairies do?
Objection.
Overruled.
Posting for a friend.
Objection.
Overruled.
Don't blame a clown for being a clown, blame yourself for going to the circus.
Objection.
Overruled. Now, I do see a couple of clowns in front of me, but I will not have my court referred to as a circus. Do you understand? Mr. Bunyan, continue.
Hold your friends close and your enemies closer.
Objection.
Overruled.
A face that could launch 1,000 ships. Oh, sorry, ships.
Objection.
Overruled.
And of course, that's unbelievable.
Objection.
Overruled. We recall from via video link our first witness from Hollywood, Mr. Scott Clark. Mr. Clark, please.
Judge, wait a minute, is that those two idiots there? I'm sick of this. They've been plagiarising me for years. Every so often I'll throw them a scrap. Anyway, I'm a busy man. Let's keep this brief. My ring piece has got a part as a dragon's nostril in the new Game of Thrones. I can prove it was me. I've been suffering. I can prove it was me that wrote and delivered that line. Roll the film. Using this green screen that we are in a pine wood. That's amazing, Scott. It's unbelievable, Eric.
Now, gentlemen, it is clear to me from the evidence just given to us by the very handsome Mr. Clark that it was he that came up with this catchphrase, and both of you have plagiarised it. So the ruling of this court is that neither of you are allowed to use this catchphrase again.
Objection.
Overruled.
That's unbelievable, Mark.
It really is, Eric.
Now, Mr. Dunn, please continue with the rest of your complaint.
Well, after that, we used him playing himself again in the Dad's Doorstep Challenge, where he went off script, making the film unsuitable to a family audience without difficult editing by my very, very, very good friend and screen husband, Scott Clark.
Mr. Bunyan, your version of events.
The Dad's Doorstep Challenge movie, that was a favourite of mine. Probably why I went a bit off script. Artistic licence it's called. Dad's White. Say, Eric, do you ever show your true colours?
Objection.
Sustained. Mr. Dunn.
Yeah, next heckle me from the sidelines when filming Braveheart.
Heckling on Braveheart, yes. I didn't want you and your bad acting in my home village.
Yeah, right. Then you encouraged Murray Bowl to attempt to internally injure me with his gerbil from the dog scurry machine.
The dog scurry incident had nothing to do with me. However, Murray Bowl doesn't have the nickname Furry Hole for nothing. Next time you see him, check out his wee ferrety hands and well-trimmed fingernails.
Mr. Dunn.
We next use Mr. Bunyan in the Sheila Gilmore story. It is my opinion that if this project was starting today, he would insist on it being the Mark Bunyan story.
Objection!
Sustained. Mr. Bunyan, please.
The Sheila Gilmore story, we never did find the right one. So, if it was to be made again and about me, there wouldn't be one. There really is only one of me. Known in the film industry... Known in the film industry... Oh, there we go. Known in the film industry as One Take Bunyan.
Done.
You also caused fear and alarm to Ian Staples when filming in the Turkish Barbers.
Come on, Staples becomes scared and alarmed at just about anything, from asking him for a coffee to exactly what his job is.
Objection!
The only thing he's relaxed in is women's clothes.
Objection!
Overruled. Mr. Staples always appears relaxed when he's wearing women's clothes whenever I've seen him.
I concur.
Mr. Dunn, please continue.
Then he claimed he would be in the posse that never ever turned up.
The posse was never my thing. Very little speaking parts. You never even managed to get a horse in the movie. You've got a farmer in the posse with horses, but none in the movie. Well, a load of cowboys. More like horses' arses, if you ask me.
Objection.
Sorry?
Objection.
Sorry? Keep your thumb off the microphone.
Objection.
Sorry? No. Overruled. Okay, I've just about had enough of this utter nonsense. Could we please move on to your closing statements? Mr. Dunn.
Our dispute then seriously ramped up when, after a series of warnings for inappropriate comments on my Shit Advisor page, I banned him. We did speak privately about this, and as a gesture of goodwill, I allowed DV to spend a long weekend with Mr. Bunyan and his family. I have evidence of torture and abuse. This led to our film appeal to have Mark Bunyan and his friend removed from Facebook. I do not seek any financial compensation here today. I only want an apology and said removal from Facebook of Mark Bunyan and his friend. Thank you.
Mr. Bunyan.
So, let's have a look at some circumcision evidence here, Judge Grinder. I have pulled a few layers back to reveal the real Mr. Dunny. Mr. Staples' motorbike. What were you doing to his bike on that fateful day of his accident? You're certainly no mechanic, yet you were fiddling with his wire, pulling it, stretching it. Where were you the day Staples had to fill in for you at the Lamash bonfire night? You were to be seen. You had an effigy of a cyclist on the bonfire, one of your least favourite modes of transport, I believe. Anything you'd like to say? No, I thought so. Why was the Don called to defend Harry, a simple man with simple pleasures in life?
Objection.
Overruled. Mr. Anderson is a simple man.
As I said, a simple man, yet you were taking advantage of him. Can I take this opportunity to thank the Don, please?
Sustained.
Gracias. What about Scott's poisoning? The Russian embassy, you have an alleged safe room there. Need I say any more, Eric, or should it be Eric the Weasel? The famous or infamous Shit Advisor page, yes, there was a bit of friction between us that needed lubricating. Dunny doesn't like conflict. I was in fact pointing out the self-centred behaviour of Dunny and his page. I also believe Dunny has a serious alcohol issue. Look how long it takes him to issue a bent result on his Shit Advisor competition each week. He's a well-worn stool at the Armadale bar. He did give me Darth Vader for the weekend, or should it be Darth Fetish doll that needed a bloody good degreasing. Oh, the pictures don't do it justice. It was. Anyway, so in summary, Judge Reindeer, this man is not what he seems. He's a charlatan, a fraudster, a chancer who's out in life to get whatever he can at any cost, and indeed a complete control freak, a Walter Mitton character.
Objection, Walter Mitty.
Overruled. It's Walter Mitton.
Thank you. I believe it's Eric that needs to issue an apology to me and get him removed from social media. Thank you, Judge Malingerer.
Gentlemen, please stand. It seems obvious to me that neither of you two have come out of this looking good at all. Both of you have not done yourselves any favours in this case at all. Mr. Bunyan, your constant catchphrases on Facebook like, "What's the ferry doing?" It's just a cheap shot across the bow of Calmac, drumming up local unrest. It reminds me a bit of the Trump and the storming of Congress. Eric, on Facebook yourself, accused of poisoning, brake tampering, and possibly worst of all, fixing competitions on your Shit Advisor page. I have no choice in this matter but to find you both guilty and ban you both from Facebook.
That's That's unbelievable, Mark.
It really is, Eric. Fancy a pint?